Hello everyone. In this video you're going to be learning about the basics of Google Drive. Google Drive is going to be one of the main tools that you're going to be using throughout this school year. Let's get started. First thing we want to do is we want to make sure that you have the correct account set up. If you look up here in the top right corner, you'll notice that this is going to be your school issued Google account. Make sure that this is associated with your Google account and not your own personal account. Next to your account, you will notice that you have a waffle. If you click on this, you'll see that it'll come up with all of the G Suite for Education applications that are associated with your school account. You can access Gmail, Google Classroom, your calendar. You can even go to your Google Meet from here. The settings. One box that we want to make sure is marked is the offline. What this allows you to do is to be able to work on any schoolwork that's on your Chromebook, even if you do not have Wi-Fi. Any work that that's done on your Chromebook can then be synced up once you are logged into the internet. And you'll notice that this button now has appeared, which indicates that you are ready to work offline. Let's take a look over on the left-hand side. You'll notice that we have the New button. If you click on the New button, you're able to create a number of things. The first is folders. You can also upload files, upload folders, and then you can start to see some of the Google apps that are offered for you. Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides. If you click on More, you'll see a drop-down box will come over to the right-hand side, and you'll have a listing of more Google applications that you can use. Next, you'll want to create a past schools folder so that any work that you have in your My Drive, you want to put inside your past school years folder. You'll notice that when I click on this, there are several folders that are from past school years here. So make sure that you take all of your work, whether it's Google Docs or folders, and you put it in your past school years folder. You'll notice next to my past school years folder is a Google Classroom folder. Some of you might not have a Classroom folder in your My Drive, and some of you might. If you have been in a teacher's Google Classroom, this folder will show up. When you click on the Google Classroom folder, it'll have a listing of all of the Google classes that you have subscribed to in the past. Next up is the Shared with Me. Any documents that have been shared with you, whether it's by your teacher or another student, will show up in the Shared with Me. Now, that means that you might have access to that document to view it or possibly to edit it as well too. In order to add a shared document, you'll need to right-click on the document, Add to Shortcut, and then you can place it in your drive. You can put it in a folder. You can create a folder here if there's not a folder that you want to put it in. Simply click on the New Folder button, and then you'll title it. And then Add to Shortcut. And you'll notice that the folder Test has shown up, and inside that is the shared document. Next up is Recent. When you click on Recent, any documents that you've opened up in My Drive recently will show up. You'll notice that it has subheadings as well. These documents were opened up earlier this month, and these were opened up last month. The Starred is where you will put important documents that you possibly could be working on. How do you star a document? Well, let's go back to the My Drive and go to the Test folder. If I right-click on this, I can then go to Add to Starred. I then go back to the Start section, and you'll notice that this has appeared. The Trash section is where you put documents that you no longer need. Just because they're in the trash doesn't mean they're gone forever. If you need to restore a document, you right-click, click on Restore, and it will automatically be put in to your My Drive. As you can see, that PDF file now has showed up in My Drive. Next up is the Priority button. When you click on the Priority button, it will take you to what we call Workspaces. As you can see, I've created a couple workspaces already. I have Science and I have Social Studies. What students use for these is they'll put documents that they're currently working on, and they'll add these to their subject areas. So for example, let's go back to the test folder. Let's say this is a document that I'm going to use for social studies, and I'll know that I'll be using it quite often. So I wanted to add it to my priority workspace. So I'll right click on it, and I will add to workspaces, and I'll put it in social studies. When I go back to the priority section, you'll notice that that document now has been populated in the social studies. You can create workspaces for any of your needs. To create a workspace, click on the Create button, and then you can go ahead and type in possibly, let's say, homework. So any time that you have assignments that are given to you and you're currently working on them, you could possibly put them into your homework workspace. In order to remove a document from your workspace, right-click, scroll down to the bottom, and click Remove from Workspace. I highly recommend at the beginning of the year that you create folders for each of the classes that you're in. In order to do that, we want to go up to the New, click on New, and go to Folder. It'll ask you to name it. So I'm going to go ahead and rename this Social Studies. I'm also going to hit New again and add a Science folder. And I'm going to create folders for each of the rest of the classes that I have. As you can see, I've now created folders for each of the classes that I have. I highly recommend that you also create a folder for tutorial. Now that I have all the folders that I want in my drive, you can also color code them. You simply right-click and change colors. And you can select what colors that you want for your folders. In the top right corner, you can change the view of your My Drive. Right now, this is in grid view. If you click on this button here, it'll change it to list view. Last but not least is the search window. This is really important in case you want to try to find a document in your Google Drive without having to click through all the folders. So let's say I'm searching for an inquiry paragraph assignment. So I'm going to type in inquiry. And you'll notice that I have a listing of Google Docs that have the word inquiry. And I want to select Ancient China Inquiry Paragraph. I am able to click and get quick access to that Google document.